Welcome back to the Catholic New Yorker. I'm Alex Basile, and we're here today in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, at the beautiful Basilica of Regina, Pacis. If you've never made your way down to this amazing area, it's certainly worth it. Some good Italian food and even more beautiful churches. So we're here today to talk a little bit about the history of Regina Pacis. In May of 1942, Mother's Day, Monsignor Angelo Ciaffi went to his parishioners of St. Rosalia's Parish, and he asked them to make a vow to the Blessed Virgin Mary. And this vow was to bring home their sons and daughters from the war safely. And he said, if we can make a vow to the Blessed Virgin Mother, she'll look over us. She's our protector. And so all 12,000 members of St. Rosalia's decided to create a shrine that would be fitting of the Blessed Virgin Mother. Now, keep in mind, they already had a church, but they were going to create a separate shrine in honor of Mary. And that's how we end up with this beautiful church. They had some property. On that property were basically 2 gas tanks, and that's all that was on that property. And from that will come this incredible and most beautiful basilica. Now, one of the things that, if you look at this church and you've ever been to Italy, you would say it reminds me a lot of the churches in Italy. One in particular, which is Our Lady of Loreto. The people of St. Rosalia's Parish had a tremendous devotion to Our Lady of Loreto. And the story of Our Lady of Loreto is an incredible tradition in our church. People believe that one day, all of a sudden, this home that belonged to the Blessed Mother, the Nazareth home of the Blessed Mother, appeared in Loreto, Italy. They're not sure exactly how it got there. There were one of 2 traditions. One is that some crusaders took it from Nazareth, took it apart piece by piece, and brought it to Loreto, Italy. Or the other tradition, which I particularly like, is one in which angels came and they transported it quickly to this beautiful town of Loreto. Mary is in all places and the protector of all, and it really kind of symbolizes how Mary is ever present in our lives. So that, keeping in mind that great tradition, we're going to see a lot of that presence of Our Lady of Loreto. And as we go through the church, we will see these beautiful stained glass windows, and they all depict different scenes of Our Lady of Loreto, and they really bring to life that incredible tradition in our church. Now, in this church, it's going to cost about $3 million to build, an incredible sacrifice, and really built on the backs and the pocketbooks of the people of St. Rosalia's Parish. In this cornerstone, which is 5 tons of granite, is inscribed with the sign of the cross, the date. There's an olive branch. It also says Salve Regina, or Hail Holy Queen. There will be 12 symbolic stars, and inside there will be coins dated from 1949. There will be the 1949 issue of Annuario Pontificio, which lists all the cardinals, the bishops, the priests, all of the different dioceses, all of the different religious orders. So it really is trying to capture like who was around in 1949. There's the Catholic Directory of New York. There will also be the Brooklyn newspaper, the Catholic newspaper, the Tablet of the time, and also a copy of the St. Rosalia's Bulletin of the Week. Really is an incredible testimony to how the average person helped to build this church. One of the centerpieces of the church will be this incredible portrait of Mary and Jesus, and it will be placed above the altar. And not only is there a painting, but there were 2 crowns that were designed for this piece of artwork. Monsignor Ciaffi asked all the members of the parish to donate jewels, wedding rings, any gold that they had, and they actually donated more than $100,000 of their own personal jewelry. They're going to design 2 crowns, one for the Blessed Mother and one for the infant Jesus, and they're going to be placed on the painting. which is going to be really a sign of their devotion to Mary. They're going to bring the jewels to the famous Manhattan jeweler, Di Natale Brothers, and it will take them over 3 years to create this incredible testimony of faith. They're going to take, once they're completed, they're going to take Monsignor Ciaffi, and a contingent will go to Rome. He will bring them to Pope Pius XII. He is going to bless them, and then he is going to come back, and he will have several coronation ceremonies, one in which will take place at the Waldorf Astoria, in which 3,000 people are going to attend. But it really was a lot of fanfare that really said a lot about the church, and also said even more about the people. These immigrants who came from Italy that really made the ultimate sacrifice, that found in the land of opportunity that things were pretty good, and they were able to make a living and even a little bit more to enjoy some of the luxuries of life, and they were willing to give all of that back. So this portrait of Mary was painted by a 93-year-old parishioner, and his name was Ilario Panzeroni. Now imagine, he was 93 years old. In the painting that you see, that is presently over the altar, you see the Christ child holding an olive branch that is pointing upward. He had done a whole other rendition of this painting in which the olive branch was pointed down. Monsignor Ciaffi did not like this painting, and he actually asked Ilario to do a whole new painting, and that's the one that we had today. But a man in his 90s, you were not sure at his age would he be able to complete this incredible work. So along with the painting, they're going to take these two crowns and they will implant them. They will affix them to the actual painting. They had a guard over it, but that didn't really help, because within only a short amount of time, the jewels were stolen. So we'll be at a wedding that Father James Russo is going to look up at the painting and notice that the guard that was enclosing the painting and protecting the crowns, that there was a 6-inch hole cut in and the crowns were gone. The security system was turned off, and immediately the police and everyone else in the local area was alerted. Now, here's where the story turns very, very interesting. So the jewels are missing now for 8 days. The conclusion of the story, and they call this the miracle of Brooklyn, is that after 8 days, the jewels, the two crowns, basically almost miraculously intact, show up back here at the rectory by special delivery. Now, who had taken these jewels? You could certainly imagine what kind of controversy the theft of these jewels caused. It made national news. It was in Time magazine. But kind of in a local twist, even when they were returned, the local paper, the Eagle, did not pronounce the victory. Rather, they wanted revenge, and it seemed that some of the people who were closely connected to the paper made it seem like revenge was the topic of the day. And it said in the newspaper, "Shrine gem thieves hunted." Well, shortly after this, and around the time that the jewels were returned, a local 22-year-old, Ralph Amino, he was found dead. And a lot of people thought he had connection to maybe organized crime, and maybe he had turned against one of the sacred traditions that you never touch religion, you never go into any of the churches. And unfortunately, he has been suspected as the jewel thief here at Regina Pacis. Obviously, that's not confirmed, but that's been the tradition that has kind of evolved as time has gone on. So how did Ralph Amino get tied to this controversy and to this crime? Well, apparently there was some talk of that his car was found in the parking lot on the night that the jewels disappeared, and also somehow he was involved in the return of the jewels here to the church. No matter what it is, no matter if he did or did not do, thankfully the jewels have returned to the church. And there's also been an addition to those, and they're not currently, if you came into the church, the jewels are not on display. They are only displayed once a year. Monsignor Marino, who is the current pastor here at Regina Pacis, recently asked his parishioners to make an additional donation. Anyone who wanted to hand in their jewels could do so for this donation. And they created 12 stars that also form this circle around, like as a crown around Mary and the infant Jesus. But they are displayed once a year for the safety of the jewels, and even for the safety of the church. They are left in under lock and key for that special occasion. On October 29th, 1949, Auxiliary Bishop Raymond Carney is going to dedicate the church. When you come into this church, your eyes are just taken in so many different directions. But when you walk in, you will see the inscription on the ground, "On the way to peace." And it really becomes this place of not only uniting with the Blessed Mother, but uniting with Christ in understanding what our faith is really all about. When you walk in and you see the coronation of Mary, it is a 60 by 27 painting by Ignacio LaRussa. It took him 3 years to complete, 60 by 27. It really reminds you of the work of Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel. 3 years to complete as a labor of love. And it really shows not only the devotion to Mary, but in the picture as well. On the left you will see Archbishop Malloy, and all the way to the right you will see Monsignor Cioffi. So it really ties together not only parishioners who are also depicted, but several saints who are also going to be united in their devotion to Mary. People like St. John Bosco on the left. You will also see St. John the Evangelist in that picture. And then if you look to the right, you will see St. Lawrence, St. Alphonsus, St. Louis Grignon de Montfort, who we know, we study his true devotion to Mary, showing us that Marian devotion is Christocentric and Trinitarian. It really is a very theological piece. As I said before, as you walk through the church, really take pay close attention to the stained glass windows. Our Lady of Loretto is portrayed there. These incredible depictions of Our Lady, not only in Nazareth, but now coming around the world to share her home with us. On the left of the church, you see this incredible shrine to the Blessed Mother. Several statues, Our Lady of Grace, with the Infant of Prague. Really Mary in all different forms. It's not just Mary of, there are many people that say like Our Lady of Lourdes. There's Our Lady of Fatima. Right? We have Mary in all different types of that kind of devotion. On the right side of the church, we're going to find a Franciscan devotion, Padre Pio, St. Anthony, St. Francis. All of these incredible saints who really understood, or St. Dominic, who really understood what it was to bring and dedicate your lives to the Blessed Mother. On October 19th, 2012, Benedict XVI is going to elevate the status of this church to a basilica, very similar to the way he did Old St. Patrick's, from cathedral to basilica. This is really an incredible church and has really served as a lifeline to the people here in Brooklyn. One of the things that is very unique about this church is the Chapel of Mary, Mother of the Unborn. Monsignor Marino went to his fellow priests in the Archdiocese of Brooklyn, and he's going to ask them to participate in the building of this chapel. If you look around the chapel, there are pictures of mothers who are expecting. There's a prayer book where people are having difficult pregnancies, people who are praying for an adoption, even people who have had an abortion. People are praying for forgiveness. But you really need to come to this part of the church, all of these incredible pictures and looking at the incredible prayers. So he's going to ask the priests of the Archdiocese of Brooklyn to donate and to become spiritual fathers to these children, to the unborn, to the adopted, to the outcasts. And it really is a beautiful testimony of priesthood. And Mary, Mother of the Unborn, is a very unique title. and Monsignor Marino wanted to bring that to our attention. Hopefully, if you have the time, you come to this incredible church. It is certainly worth the visit. Not only do you come to the church, but then I always tell my students, you head down the road and you head to L&B Spumoni Gardens and you have a little something to eat. Go to any one of the most beautiful restaurants here in Bensonhurst, but you have to include eating as part of your pilgrimage. So, buon appetito, and we will see you soon.